Good evening, my friends. This is our 30 days for the meditation. And as I promised you that today, I am inviting Venerable Hui Sheng. He is a monk. We somehow, locked down at this property. So he has been doing like an intensive meditation for at least 2 weeks. I remember that, I haven't seen him for, quite a while. And so the worker came to the property. And they are asking me, and frankly, at that time, because this, coronavirus, I was really worried about, anyone got affected or maybe died. So when they asked me, so where is the Venerable Hui Sheng? I said, I haven't seen him for almost 2 weeks. I hope that he's still alive. And so good that later I have learned that he has been doing very diligently doing the meditation. Today, I invited him over, and I'm going to interview him from his background first, and then I will ask him about his meditation experience. Okay? So now let's start it. Okay, good evening.
Good evening to all our friends of the Dharma, followers and fans.
Okay.
It's an honor to be on Venerable Yifa's program.
Okay, so can you tell us about your background?
Okay.
Where are you from? Yeah.
I come from a small family in Malaysia. And my hometown is Ipoh. I was born in the capital of Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, raised in Ipoh. I had a father, my mother is still surviving, and a sister, but both my father and my brother has passed away. So, family. And in my secondary years, I got sent to the United Kingdom to further my studies with my brother. At the time, there was no financial problems in my family. My father was a certified mining engineer, and my mother was a businesswoman taking care of the family business. But after some time, suddenly the family business didn't do very well, and I was summoned back to my home country to take care of the business, to close the business down. So that was that. And after that, I worked for 10 years, and then it was in 1998, a crucial year in my life. Now, I will explain a little more about that. Now, in 1998, if most of you remember, it was a very difficult period because it was a world recession. And I was working at a lawyer's firm with an attorney who took care of properties. He used to boast friends who were millionaires in different countries doing very well as lawyers and attorneys. But during that world recession, suddenly what I heard from him was, so-and-so friend just died. And I said, how? Oh, he committed suicide. Me into a reflective mode. I started to ask myself, what is life about? Am I going to follow this course of life to follow as a member of the 95 red race for the rest of my life? Or I can change the course of my life, I can do something different. So when I went back to my rented room, I looked at the room. Here I am back in my room after work, and 4 walls surrounding me. Isn't this a decent cell? When I go to work, I woke up very early in the morning, beat the traffic, and then work in the office, and then I came back home. And during the weekends, I would go to friends to entertain ourselves, to eat at the different restaurants. But something was missing. I was missing something like for a calling. I feel that something very important is in my life. And so it was in 1998 I decided to become a monk. Now, there are many Buddhist organizations and Buddhist societies in my country, because although Islam is the main religion, a national religion, but they offer freedom to any other religious establishments. So you have Theravada, you have Vajrayana, and of course, the Chinese Buddhist traditions. So I was faced with this dilemma. Which organization am I going to join to become a monk? And I wanted it to be a life aspiration, nothing off and on. So I had to think very carefully where I was going to go. Now, this came in 1996. There was this suddenly very, very famous Buddhist master, founding master of the Fo-Guang-Shan International Buddhist Order, and that is Venerable Master Xing Yun. Suddenly, all over my country, a great monk is going to come to our country. He's going to organize a very big event in the which is recently constructed in my country that has the capacity of 1,000 audience. Now, there was great news. And we were at Fo-Guang-Shan, Malaysia at that time, working with the Lay Association, Buddha's Light Association. They started a campaign. They sent out invitation letters to all the Buddhist organizations throughout the country, and all the temples received this invitation. So it was a grand event. So that day, before Venerable Master Xing Yun came to the Kuala Lumpur, where he was going to have at the stadium, and he was also offering the chance of taking refuge for Buddhists. So I remember that we got the news from a local temple, registered for a tour bus that sent us from my hometown, Ipoh, all the way to Kuala Lumpur. We set up very early in the morning, and then we reached there in the afternoon. I think it was a very clever arrangement by Fo-Guang-Shan Malaysia, because when we reached Kuala Lumpur, not only did we get the chance to sightsee, but we get to experience Fo-Guang-Shan Malaysia. I was astonished that a Chinese Buddhist organization could establish such a big temple in Malaysia. And they not only they have a temple, they also have a Buddhist college. And we get to experience the environment of the Buddhist college and even talk to the students. Now, what impressed me was the students was well-mannered, and generally they carried themselves with dignity and grace. And I thought, well, maybe one day I'll be one of them. And that was in 1996. And so during the evening, remember, the stadium fully filled with audience, with Buddhists from all over my country, went to this event of Venerable Master Xing Yun. As I recall, he was driving in what we call a roofless cart, so, making a round of the in the stadium, taking a round of the stadium like a celebrity. And I think to myself, well, maybe one day I could be a monastic. I may not be as great as him, but maybe follow my path in the monastic course. So that evening, it was time to take refuge in Buddhism. So after that, as I say, in 1998, okay, back to 1998, when I wanted to become a monastic, so a thought straight in my mind. Now, why not explore this Buddhist college of Fo-Guang-Shan Malaysia? So I went to the Malaysia and got interviewed by the abbess who was Venerable Master at that time. I told her straight away I wanted to become a monastic, and I wanted to enroll in your Buddhist college. She was very, very happy and delighted that I was going to join her monastic community. But he warned me. She said, you're going to be very, very busy monastic in Fo-Guang-Shan. Do you think you're ready for that? And I thought to myself, well, so I've worked in different work capacities 10 years when I came back from the UK. So work is nothing new from me. Now when I become a monastic, I'm no longer serving for only myself or my family, I'm serving a larger mass community. I'm serving for the bigger purpose. So at the same time, I still want to be a monastic, I still want to enroll in the Buddhist college. And so I enrolled in the Buddhist College of Fort Guangshang, Malaysia. I completed a full course in one semester, and because my performance was well, they sent me to the Fort Guangshang Head Monastery in Taiwan, which is located in Kaohsiung province. And so after I got my visa, I arrived in Taiwan with just one suitcase, and I arrived in Fort Guangshang during the night, during the evening, in 1998, sometime in September. So I started as a Buddhist in Fort Guangshang Head Monastery. Now that was 1998. Soon they was asking for someone to be a librarian, and I became a librarian in the male college division of the Buddhist College of Fort Guangshang. So in 1999, there was news that the master was going to offer tonsure to anyone who became a monastic. Of course, with my aspiration to become a monastic, I signed up for that chance, and I got tonsured under my master. And then in the year 2000, the start of the millennium, I heard that there was going to be this very important event in the Chinese Buddhist tradition, which we call the Triple Platform Grand Ordination. Now after this ordination, a monastic is no longer a novice, but he will be officially a monastic member. Of course, I signed up for that as well. And I got interviewed by Venerable who was a very senior monk in the Fort Guangshang Buddhist order. And of my capacity in linguistic ability, I could speak in both Chinese and English. And Master Sintin was very happy that I was in the monastic community. So after joining the monastic community, I tried to complete my course at the Buddhist College for 4 years. But unfortunately, after some time, we experienced this great earthquake in China. So my course was sort of disrupted. So I graduated earlier from the college. I graduated after 2 years and joined the Domestic Affairs Division or the Department of Fort Guangshang Monastic and learned about organization and learned how to organize big events accommodating thousands of devotees. So I learned a lot from my experience in Fort Guangshang. And then in year 2000, the abbot of Fort Guangshang Island suddenly disappeared. And one day, my master asked to see me. He told me, I need someone to help out Fort Guangshang Bangkok. I want you to help out. Well, as a naive person, I just said, fine, wherever the needs me, I should go, because for me, it's always a learning opportunity. Now, what I didn't know was when I went to Bangkok, I was going to be appointed as the acting abbot of a monastery in Bangkok. In my experience, I've never become a person in charge, so it's a learning experience. So I stayed in Fort Guangshang, Thailand for 2 years. And after that, my master decided that, well, some of my male monastics, my male devotees, my male disciples, I think that they should further their studies, especially in overseas, if they have the ability to further their studies. So I was sent to United States, and I studied in the University of the West, established under the Fort Guangshang Buddhist order. I was a monastic member. At the same time, I was serving in Fort Guangshang, United States, which is Silai Temple, located in Hacienda Heights in LA County. Now, at the same time, I was taking up 2 jobs. I was working under the abbot as a special assistant. At the same time, I was also working as a special assistant of the Dean of the University of the West. Well, I did complete my master's in after 1.5 years. And I continued working with the university until some time. I served in the United States until year 2013. And then I was transferred to Fo-Guang-Shan, France, which is the headquarters of Fo-Guang-Shan in Europe. There, I served for a full term of 3 years. And after that, my master's study in Taiwan. I went back, well, it's like home. I went back to the males division of the Buddhist college, and I taught for 1 year. I gave Buddhist classes to the Buddhist college, and I also offered Chinese classes for non-English speaking students coming from different countries. And after 1 year, one of the senior nuns in Fo-Guang-Shan told me that we need someone in Fo-Guang University, which was one of the 2 universities established under the Buddhist order, and it is located in northern Taiwan, Yilan. So I went there, and there were dormitories under the Buddhist faculty, the Faculty of Buddhism, Fo-Guang University. One was intended for the male students, and one was intended for the female students. Sort of like a dean in the male Buddhist dormitory, and I also had to offer to master's students. So at the same time, I was also had to take care of very big events, because Fo-Guang-Shan universities were constructed contribution and donations with many devotees. So devotees were divided according to regions. So in the northern regions, out of appreciation, we have to serve them with what we call the Great Repentance ceremony twice a year. And thousands of devotees will come for this function. And I, as a male, or the male monastic in the Fo-Guang University, actually the only at that time of Fo-Guang-Shan Buddhist order, I had to take care of all the logistics. So actually in my monastic life, I deal with a lot of things I was never familiar with. But I always thought, so what? I'm here to learn, I'm here to serve, and things always went well. But after 1 year, I was so stressed out that sometimes I would sleep for hours during the weekends where students would go home, or students would just leave the dormitories. And after some time, I was so stressed that I was reflect upon myself. Now, okay, this is probably another turning point in my life. Am I going to follow such a busy schedule in my life for the rest of my monastic years? Am I going to work like a machine, and sometimes without the feeling of I'm achieving levels in my spiritual practice, because I was devoting so much time in my people I had to take care of. Actually, I was neglecting my own spiritual practice, so I had to reflect on that. At the same time, there was one problem that I had to deal with. During my years in the United States, the monastery offered me the opportunity to get a green card. Now, the green card was going to expire, and I understood that the Buddhist order never had the intention to send me back to the United States again. That means giving up on my U.S. status. And I had to think about myself, am I going to stay in Taiwan, or am I maybe to have the chance to propagate the Dharma in the United States? I compared the two. That I had a certain kind of affinity with people of the West, with the Western countries. So I decided that I had to order, but at the same time return my U.S. status. So I heard about a temple organized by ex-Fo-Guang-Shan monastics that had a temple which is called Guangming Buddhist Association in LA County. So I wrote to them, and then I joined the monastery. I joined the temple there. So there was that, and I believe, although I'm here in the Eastover, I believe that it is a very difficult period now for a lot of people. Unemployment, isolation at homes, and to deal with and so forth. I think to a lot of people, they may think of this as an R&R period, and that we know that stands for rest and restoration. But for me, it is more like an R and R and R period. Now, what like that? R and R, as we know, refers to rest and restoration. I needed that because I was stressed in my body. My physical condition wasn't going well. I had to rejuvenate my health somehow. Now the last R is reflection. I remember one high monk saying that there are many junctions in life. Just like when we're driving on the road, sometimes we come to the junction, when the light turns yellow, what do? We prepare to stop. When the light turns red, what do? We stop altogether. And of course, we wait for the green light for the go signal. I think this coronavirus, or what we call the SARS-CoV-2 period, is like that. It is a phase in our life for us to be with our family, for us to strengthen our abilities, for us to reach for higher aims and so forth. So as a monastic member, I took care for my self-cultivation. And thank you, our dear friend, Rebecca Fa.
Well, that's great. And what a story. And basically, within 20 minutes, we come to know about Venerable Huishen. And it's a great resume and your biography as well as a monk. I remember that in the year of 2002, you were helping me out with the Woodenfish summer program, and I also heard you were a DJ. Before you was a monk, you love music.
I worked in different capacities when I was a lay person. I work as a salesperson, I work as a home tutor, I work as work with the law family, and so forth, because I had to earn a living. I never stayed long in a job because I always felt that something was missing. I learned very quickly because I am quick with the ability to be quick-witted. So I learned very fast in every capacity.
Because you came out a rap.
Yes.
At the end of our program.
Yes.
And so it's called Woodenfish. So you also have the music talent as well.
No, let me explain about that, about the DJ part, okay? At that time, I was working in Kuala Lumpur, and I was working under a cable company, which we call Rediffusion. Now, the thing about this Rediffusion company is that these boxes that is installed in many so if you turn on the knob, you will hear whole program from the little box. And it was very popular in the 80s. And they carried this company into the 90s, and it was a great success. So I was working under the commercial department as a secretary under the manager of the commercial department of that cable. Now, because it was a radio station, I also was given a chance to try to DJ because they enjoy my voice. They think that, hey, I think that your voice as a male person is, very steady, very and well, we sort of really like your voice. Do you think that you may be interested to try being a DJ? Don't worry that you'll never be live, okay? And I said that, okay, you want to be on live? Bye-bye, no way. Okay, because I was a very shy person. Okay, so that was that. And I was given the opportunity to work as a DJ. So there was nice evening programs. We were giving our own individual programs. So my program was between 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. And you know that is a very restorative period during the end of the day. So I have to organize very soothing programs. And so as a DJ, what you would do is you would play a tune on the music, and then you would speak a few words about life, about things on your mind to connect with the listeners, and then you go on with the music and so forth. Now the program lasted about half an hour, so I wasn't actually a proper DJ in that sense. Just because I had a good voice, they invited me to record my programs, and there was that. So I had no musical abilities at all.
But the rap was great though. Okay, well I know he can talk. Okay, so I would like to let him talk the whole, during this whole hour. Let's switch to the topic because you have decided to do intensive meditation, and I know that because I haven't seen you almost like 2 weeks.
Yes.
So okay, tell us what you have been doing. Okay, during this time, Especially, I know that you tell me that you have done the meditation and also some repentance.
Yes.
Okay, but I also want you to mention about your experience with the Vipassana meditation. That's for 10 days as well. So why don't you kind of talk about more like a past and present?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
About the meditation experience.
First of all, I think I'm going to need to make a disclaimer. I'm in no way as articulate or eloquent as our dear friend here, Reverend Yifa. So, should I go off on a tangent or express myself not very clearly? I probably need a nudge from. Yes. First of all, I'll talk about my meditative practices. As a member of the Fokonshan International Buddhist Order, we come from a legacy of the Zen tradition, Lingji Chanzhong. So we are actually a proper division of the Chinese Buddhism, what is we call the Zen division of Chinese Buddhism. So I come from like a proper legacy, so to speak. So during my Fokonshan, I was always trained according to the Lingji, or what we call the Rinzai tradition. So I was trained in that for many years. And during my serving years in Silai Temple, I organized several what we call 7-day intensive retreats. And well, most of them had to be in English eventually because we were inviting English members. And at first, when I was organizing my first retreat, there were, because I was, as I said, I was trying something new and I wasn't familiar with the program. But after the 4th program, the participants somehow told me that, Sifu, I like the program. Minded, you understand what the Western people need. You are not very stringent with rules and discipline, but you still insist on them, and you work out a very, what we call it, a very humane schedule that we can all follow. And we like your Dharma because we relate to that. So from that on, I know that maybe one day I can be trained as a master because I can relate to the people I relate with. So that was that. And when I returned to, after I've left the border and when I returned to United States, I had this thought, well, maybe I should try a meditation tradition of I should try other Buddhist traditions in meditation. And when I was in Malaysia, I always heard about Vipassana. And in the United States, I was living in the United States, I also heard about Vipassana. But unfortunately, when you're a Buddhist organization, it's not easy for you to apply for leave. So I never thought about maybe I apply for, a 2 weeks leave, okay, just to join such a retreat. I know that my leave probably will be denied. So during my serving years in Fokonshan, I never get to experience other meditation traditions. So after I joined Kwangming Buddhist Association, I'm more liberal in my schedule. So I asked for leave to join meditation. And that tradition belongs to the Goenga tradition, which is he followed from the legacy of his master, Gopachim or whatever. And first experience in the Theravada meditation tradition. Now, before I joined the tradition, I was told by the monastic, oh, you should not go there. Why? Because I've heard that they have no monastics serving that. They don't pay respect to monastics. You'll never be treated as a monastic in such a tradition because they don't talk about it and it's not Buddhist and they just do meditation. Well, in my mind, okay, I thought that, well, that's what you say, but that's not what I'm going to experience. And what I'm going to experience might be different from what you said. And so I asked about the devotees in my temple who had joined the Vipassana meditation. What I've heard, they told me there is no Buddha statues in the tradition. It's open to members of all society. You can be any members, you can be religious or non-religious or even atheist, and you can still join the meditation courses. And I said, good, this is what I want to experience, non-sectarian, but meditation. So I remember when I joined the meditation, when I arrived at the retreat, it was evening, and we were allotted to our seats in the meditation hall, and then assistant teachers. an old couple in the age of 70s. Suddenly they came to see me. I was given to sit on a stool to respect my position as a monastic. And they came to me, and then they prostrate before me and told me, monastic, they call me venerable, we would like to you. And I was so surprised and impressed that they actually made 3 prostrations before me. Remember, they were the age of my parents. Just because they pay respect to me. And I said that I'm going to get something out of this meditation. Because I know when you respect Jam, this is something very substantial. It's not just any other meditation. It's not what I heard from a monastic friend. And so I very faithfully for 10 days. Well, I never achieved what they call the what is the term? That is the state where you have this solution, where the body is like, transparent, where you feel all the sensations going through in the body. I think they have a term for that, Bhagayana, or something like that, Bhagayana. I never reached that stage. What I reached was, if you say that the Bhagavan station that you can reach if you go on a train, okay? I think I reached the station before that, what we call bang your head on the wall, okay? Because during the last few days, all of us were working so hard, especially me as a beginner. The goal of reaching this, what we call the Bhagayana level. But we never got there. A lot of us felt frustrated. But in the end, okay, fine, this is my first experience in such a meditation. But what I experienced was also something different from what I experienced from my Chinese tradition. In my Chinese traditions, what I feel that you can reach a state of activity, but there's a bottleneck you cannot break, because you do not know where you can advance and how to advance. But in the Vipassana, okay, I know that I can advance to a different level. At least there is this stage of total dissolution that a lot of members can reach. And after that, get to associate with different members, and I was lay devotees told, some lay participants told me that they did reach that stage of dissolution even as an initial member of the course, and I felt and I had confidence in such a method. So what I'm doing now is I'm adopting this essence of Vipassana in my meditative practice. That may not be my only part of the meditative practice, but it is the crucial part of my meditative practice because it relates to me and I do benefit from it. So now about my experiences is over. As I say, to me, it's more like an R, and R period. A time for rest and restoration physically, and a time for reflection spiritually.
Okay, let me interrupt. Okay, the first one, I think I'd like to clarify. The Goenka community, indeed, they are really very respectful to the monastic. Because if you join them, usually they give the monks and nuns individual.
Yes,
and individuals separate the bathroom. Sure. So this is so whoever told you the first it's not right. Okay, we have to correct that. The secondly, even with like Confield, every time when he gave a lecture, when he saw that there was a monastic monks and nuns in the audience, and he will pay 3 prostration to the monks and nuns. So I have to say that it's really for me it's they are really very noble.
Yes,
and really that they have that kind of. Still, they are not okay. They respect the Triple Gem. Mm-hmm. Okay? It's not because of you individual, but the way they show their respect because your status. So this is very, very precious. Okay. So now I want to ask you: do you remember that when you went to Goenka's Vipassana meditation, what kind of method they? Okay, is that about breathing, and also what does it mean about Vipassana? The method of Vipassana. So can you kind of share about the technique and the method as well. Yeah, the vipassana.
Actually,
How do you do the meditation?
Yes, okay. Actually, the method is very simple. I believe that you could trace it back to the Nagaya because that's what they told me the tradition comes from. And the tradition actually was transmitted by to our hearts during the time of Ashoka, King Ashoka. He sent to our hearts, not just to monastic, to monks, not high monks, but our hearts. Southern parts of India, okay, and so that they can establish this meditation I learned during the course. And I believe that they don't lie. So if that is the truth, that means that is the tradition passed down by the Buddha and preserved by the Arhats, who brought to the Southeast Asia and still preserved. Now what I understood was only in Burma the tradition has been kept intact. In Thailand, Laos, and many different Theravada countries, there was this tradition either with the method but not the teachings, or only with the teachings but not with the application or the method. But only in Myanmar, the tradition has been preserved intact. So that was the legacy of the tradition. As I said, it was not his tradition, but he promoted the whole tradition and it became international. That was his benefit, that was his contribution. So that's what I have to clarify. Now what did I learn during the meditation? First, you start with breath. I believe that for every meditation tradition, you always have to start with the breath. Because we breathe to live, and we believe that when we pass away, the last breath will be an out breath. Because there's no more incoming breath, we are going to die slowly, the system is going to deteriorate. So breath is a natural part in life. And according to the Chinese tradition, especially in Tao and Taoist, we believe that when the air enters our body, it becomes what we call qi. So that's why you have qigong. Okay? So same thing with vipassana meditation. It doesn't start off with vipassana. The first 2 days, you are trained with what we call anapanasati. Anapanasati is the awareness of your breath. So you're aware of the breath coming in, going out. You are not supposed to breath because there's going to be a distraction. So what I tell you is just let your breath be. Let it come in. But know that whether it's coming in or going out. Don't say the word out or in. No verbalization. Just note. Just be aware. Because the tradition asks you to train the faculty of your awareness, which is, as we know, means awakening. And that comes with the faculty of awareness. So that's what I relate to in my course in the Vipassana tradition. So after a few days, they ask you to focus on something more substantial, something more subtle. Focus on the touch of breath. That means when the breath comes in through your nostrils, do you feel warmth or the kind of coolness? The breath goes out at the same time, do you feel that it's warmer or cooler? So that means your mind is still, very calm and quiet. Notice such subtle slits of the breath. What I did notice was when the breath comes in, it's warm. When the breath comes in, it's cool because air is cool in the environment. When it goes out, it's always warm. Usually that's the case. So that's what I realized in my first course. So after that, they advance you to another level. Now they ask you to focus on the sensations. Again, because they say that this is one of the chakras, one of the spiritual the physical body. They don't use the word chakra, but from what I understood from the lectures, is what they're referring to. Okay, so from then on, you have sensations. Now, sensations refer to any feelings that you can feel with the mind. It can be pain, it can be tingling, it can be prickling, it can be an itch, it can be warmth, it can be moisture, it can be anything on the physical level. There are two types of sensations. What we call the less subtle one is what we call the gross sensations like pain. Something very intensified. Something very solidified. You may feel that it is solid, but actually it's not. But the sensation is intense. Intensified and then solidified sensations. They refer those as the gross sensations. And then you may have sensations. And those are like prickling, tingling, electricity through your body, and something very pleasant. Now, what I understood is they ask you to practice equanimity in the sense that whatever the sensations, do not judge the sensations. So however pleasant the sensations are, do not cling to them or do not crave. Now that actually ties into the teachings of the Buddha. No attachment to feelings of pleasantness. Next, to tell you that however unpleasant the sensations are, do not react with hatred and do not react with aversion. That again ties into the teaching. No attachment to ill feelings. So that is the development of equanimity. But what is more important is to focus on anicca, which is the state of impermanence. Because a sensation is a sensation, coming, going, arising, passing, always in the state of a flux of change. And that is the teachings of the Buddha, impermanence. Nothing is there, nothing is there. Even one session you feel during the Vipassana session, it doesn't mean that you will feel the same sensations again when you attend the second session. And that's fine. But what is important is during the Vipassana is the sensations are always, you're always aware of sensations. But sometimes there may be no sensations, but that is okay. Because the mind is not sharp enough, intuitive enough, penetrating enough to feel the more subtle sensations. And that's okay, because we're training the mind. So in my experience, I was lucky to be blessed with mostly pleasant sensations. But I know that I'm not supposed to crave that or to cling on to that. But sometimes I get these intensified sensations, and in the training of a Vipassana tradition is you have to focus on those areas until they become dissolution or until they dissolve. So what I understood was sometimes when I focus on the pains, okay, I understood that it was probably because I was neglecting my body physically in my younger years, did something bad, hurt myself or something like that. I just focused on with a state, with a mind state of equanimity. And what is surprising is most of the time the sensation will dissolve. It's like when you are doing Vipassana, suddenly you feel that you're stuck in your breath, you cannot breathe. Fine. Just focus on that feeling or sensation of tightness that you cannot breathe. But suddenly when you relax, everything just goes away. What I think is wonderful about this Vipassana, you actually relate to what you practice and you do feel the results. That's what I've experienced. So as I say that they have different levels, the more advanced levels is total dissolution, where the body is like transparent, where you feel the subatomic particles in your body, no longer physical body. And I think that it takes you from the physical level and then to mental level and then to the spiritual level. Now it is over during my my 2-week what I call a regressive retreat. What I understand is actually how you practice, how you sit doesn't important. It's not that important compared to what you realize and compared to what you learn from what the Dharma shows you. So in my state of realization, I realized that Dharma comes in different levels. And I would like to share with you during this video. So my first realization is Dharma at the very gross level, at the level, a beginner's level, Dharma is like the water. Now we know that water, it cleanses, it purifies, it will mold itself to any containers, it's flowing, okay, so it has that qualities, but it is still in a realistic sense. So the next level is Dharma is like the air. Now we know that we need water to survive, but air is more important. Imagine you cannot breathe for 2 minutes. That is a very suffering experience. I'm sure we know that. Okay? So air is even more important, and air is more subtle than the state of water. Air is everywhere. Air is the breath of life. But air is confined to conditions and environment. So the next, more advanced level of Dharma is like empty space. Now, empty space is a very subtle and profound concept. So let us look at this beautiful serene hall. If this hall is cluttered with furniture, with boxes and things, we cannot use this hall. Look at this hall, it's so beautiful because there's nothing obstructing it. And that is the beauty of an empty space. Subtle level is a higher level. But that is not the most ultimate level. The ultimate level of Dharma is, it is beyond, it is transcendental. And that is the emptiness.
Can I interrupt you? When you mean the Dharma, you mean the everything or the teaching?
All the phenomena.
All the
whether
phenomena.
Conditional or unconditional.
Yeah, okay, yes. Good. You feel. Okay, and also you mentioned about like during this period, you also have done some about repentance.
Yeah.
Share
Certainly.
About how do you do the repentance?
In my monastic training, I'm told that sometimes when we do spiritual practice, we may come across obstacles. So we diligently make repentance, whether for the unwholesome karmas accumulated in our lives, in our past existence, or about things we've done wrong to people or ourselves during this life. So repentance is a part of our monastic training. So I've not actually experienced any obstacles in my vipassana meditation, but I believe the repentance part is another crucial part of our training. What I did was, during the morning, afternoon, I would do 1 hour separate sessions in meditation. And then in the evening, that is the end of the day, it's reflective, where everything is, quiet and peaceful, I would do my repentance. Now the practice I adopted was the repentance of the 88 Buddhas. Too long, it takes about only half an hour because I was not prostrating to every Buddha, but I chanted the name faithfully and I chanted the name mindfully. And the words of repentance is very beautiful, very comprehensive in the ritual itself. So what I did was, during the day, I tried meditation sessions. Now, as I said, this period is also R&R for me. So whenever I feel tired, I would just take a rest to let my body rejuvenate. So in the end, I felt so enlightened physically and spiritually that sometimes I feel that I can only eat just one meal and that is enough. So sometimes I just take breakfast with cereals, and sometimes I may prepare a more comprehensive lunch. But I think one meal or at least 2 meals is just enough for me. So that was my experience in meditation, and I feel that it's very beneficial. Thank you.
Okay, well, because we use this one, I won't be able to kind of read your question and then to as well. But you know what? I think that and leave any question, on the message, and I believe that Venerable Hui Sheng will be still here. So this will not be the only time. Okay, so if you leave the message question for him, so next time I can invite him over that, then he can still answer your question. So let me ask you more about, when you do the meditation, do you feel so-called samadhi? Samodhi,
now,
yeah.
how do you define samadhi?
Kind of, like maybe a test of dhyana. Yeah.
How do I explain that in English? Because
concentration.
Okay.
So that's why.
Focus.
Okay. So when I mean the samadhi, of course it's indicated in the Buddhist text, isn't it? And it's turn. So maybe everybody will interpret differently. But you will, got that experience is different from your normal experience. That means that there was an experience you never experienced before. For example, for me, I can tell what does mean about renunciation, experience. Or I can tell you I experienced some kind of, I think that even when we talk about samadhi, you have a different level. Just like a dhyana definitely has a different level.
Sure.
When we talk about meditation, everybody will probably, for example, you will be from very gross, kind of a concentration, and then you move into more like refined, and then gradually, of course, if you use the Buddhist, text term, like you have that kind of dhyana in the desire round, and then later you move to the first dhyana, second dhyana, third dhyana, and the fourth dhyana, and then to the emptiness. Okay, but I know this because I'm a scholar, so I always use those mixed terms. So my question for you is, is a term. There was a term, for example, enlightenment, but that's a kind of still far away. Okay, sure. Everybody know about enlightenment, but here in the text it referred to the dhyana, like a chanting, isn't it? Samadha, samadhi. So I mean, if you put very hard diligence in the meditation, somehow you will test that kind of experience, and then that is to use your words, to explain, like you just mentioned about like vipassana. Okay, about the sensation of the body. So now, could you answer to me? Do you have what the samadha? What it means? Concentration. Okay, I'm sorry, I keep saying samadha. Like special, more like a one pointness. What single-minded. One pointness concentration. Okay, so use very plain concentration. What is the
Sure.
experience? Yeah.
Let me share with the audience here. Okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, in my monastic training, I did get a chances to organize meditation retreats. So during my intensive meditation retreats, what I experience is a state of emptiness, where no thoughts arise in your mind. You reside in a state of equanimity. Even if the thoughts arise, they come and go, just like a flash, and they do not interrupt with your practice. So you stay very still, okay, in this state of equanimity, but there is no breakthrough during my previous traditions. Now, in Vipassana it's different, because Vipassana is about insight, is about being aware. So I'm not reaching any state of samadhas in the sense that I do have states of equanimity, but most of the time I'm focused on my sensations. Thoughts still go up. Sometimes there may be so many thoughts that interrupt my practice. But most of the time, when I focus on the sensations, I'm more focused, and when the mind is very still, and when the mind is very calm, it's like a mirror. And mirror reflects. What I'm saying is, to me, the state of samadha is not so important as to what the Dharma is going to show me. Because the Buddha did say, when in the state of samadha, you may not get enlightened. In Zhiguan, what gets is guan, and that is contemplation. And that is reflection on the Dharma. On an intuitive level. Not what you think Dharma is, but what Dharma shows you actually. So in my concern, I'm more what Dharma is showing me. What I learn from my sensations. What I learn about the teachings of impermanence. What I learn about anicca. What I learn about anatta. And how I can apply that in my monastic life, so that I can treat people with in a more friendly nature, relate to people in a more what we call it renman. Okay, I can be a better monastic. I can be a better person, not just to remain in the community when no thoughts come in. I already experienced that in my previous traditions. Nothing is new to me, but there should be a breakthrough. There should be something more transcendental, beyond the physical, beyond mental, and something more spiritual, what we call the numinous experience. Quality of spirituality. What I'm aiming for is that state of spiritual quality. So at the same time, I'm not experienced that yet, but I'm more focused on my sensations, and I'm working to at least reach the state of dissolution, what we call Bhagayana, before I can advance more in this Vipassana tradition. So there's a goal that I'm aiming for. So in my sense, although I have this state of nothingness, thoughts don't disrupt me, but that is not my objective. My objective is on the guan, the contemplation on the wisdom part, the panya part of the vipassana meditation. And that really relates to me. Because when you observe the sensations, they are always there. Sometimes you may not feel them, but you know that they're always there because there are always biochemical reactions in the body. There are always blood, fluids, okay, even the chi, life energies, okay, the cells interacting, the subatomic particles, okay. But you know that sometimes when the mind is not penetrative enough, when the mind is not sharp enough, you can never experience this very subtle, not only sensations, but of Dharma. As I say, Dharma can be so fine that it can be like air is so fine, not a lot of people can feel it, although they breathe air most of the time. Most of the time we just neglect, okay? But then empty space is even more subtle. But what about emptiness? And that is really profound. So during my state of meditation with this vipassana practices, a lot of teachings of the Buddha will come to my mind. And I will reflect upon that. Okay, so everything is impermanent. I will reflect on that. Is that true? Is the Buddha telling me the truth? And why is that the Buddha is telling me the truth? What has become impermanent? Why can I accept this concept of impermanence? And a lot of teachings in the past that I read in the sutras suddenly become mine. Suddenly I understood. Yes, I understood now what this sutra is teaching me. After so many years, after giving so many classes, suddenly it's like I wouldn't call it enlightenment. Suddenly it's like a door is open, a window is open, you see the outside, you see the beautiful scene of snowing, you see the sunshine, you see something very spiritually, spiritually positive. So this is what I experienced from my vipassana meditation.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I have one clarification and the other one is the question. Yes, in the Buddhist text, that the Buddha reminds us, say, well, the concentration or is not just the Buddhist way. So that means a lot of non-Buddhists or even in the other spiritual or religions in the tradition, that you can through different way to reach that we call the dhyana or the concentration. Okay. Of course, over that we call stop. But the Buddha said, well, remember, even though when your mind is so still and stop, it doesn't mean like that is the enlightenment. Why? He added, you have to the insight. So that is the wisdom. So in Buddhism, concentration and the wisdom always wings of a bird. Okay, so that's why I'm kind of just along your lines to mention that. Okay. Doing the meditation for Buddhism is not just a stop at like a concentration and stillness or the stop. The secondly, I want to ask you a question about, this is kind of a two question or one question, and you still have a few minutes. Okay, so
what's the first question?
Yeah, well, I mean, can you explain something about, maybe the joy or happiness from the meditation, or you can kind of answer what is the most difficult, like the pain. When I teach a student, they have a lot of pain in their body. Okay, when they say, you hurt. Okay, do you have an experience to share with us how to overcome pain, the hurt in the body? This is the most important.
Let me explain from two angles. First, my experience with Lingji Chan or other Buddhist meditation traditions is when you have very intensified sensation, is you have to bear it through. You have to endure it. But not to fight it, but you just have to endure until the pain goes away. Or even when the pain doesn't go away, at the end of the session, okay, you're supposed to fine. Let me maybe do better. But in the Vipassana, it's different. You observe the sensation objectively. Like you're outside the body. You are no longer judging the sensation, giving it the label of this is a pleasant sensation. This is an unpleasant sensation. No. Because that is clinging, that is craving, whether in a good sense or in the negative sense. In the good sense is craving, negative sense is aversion. So in the Vipassana Goenka tradition, you are not supposed to have any reaction. Just observe faithfully, observe intuitively. Okay, pain. What is pain? What is causing this pain? Is it on a muscular level? Is it on a mental level? How does the pain, what is the pain? It is always that painful, like in labor when you're giving birth, or the pain comes and goes. Sometimes it suffices, sometimes it lessens. So you know that pain is actually a state of impermanence. Pain is changing itself all the time. It's reorganizing the states of a conditionality, in a sense. So in that sense, you know that when the mind is good enough, when the mind is intuitive enough, and when the mind is very calm and quiet and non-judgmental, the mind has the ability, the innate ability to transcend. And that is when you feel that somehow the pain will lessen, and somehow even the pain will just vanish. Because I've been told by devotees, my very faithful devotees who have joined Vipassana meditation courses for 10 years or even more, they told me that sometimes they do experience this intense pain. But with this teaching of just observing without being judgmental, eventually they overcome the pains that has been accumulated for many years. Let's say if you hurt your back, and some of the devotees cannot sit for even 20 minutes. But with this meditation training is because you're observing judgmentally, objectively, you're just watching the state of impermanence. So what you find that eventually the pain is just like something like tingling, vibrations. And when you feel that, because the mind is very receptive, the mind is very sharp, but at the same time, the mind resides in equanimity. It has that inner spiritual quality to transcend the level. Sometimes you may not be able to achieve that during the first session, but when the sessions go on, you have more and more strength in your mind, and eventually, what I said is you will break through the bottleneck, physical sensations. For me, as I say, I'm blessed because I have no very intense sensations when I do Vipassana. Most of them are pleasant, but I know that I'm not supposed to react with craving or clinging, because that is going to get me into trouble because it is attachment. So I think for every individual, any meditation session, the experience is at the same time very different. People differ in our physical structure, in our mental construct and so forth, and with our spiritual experience. So I believe that everyone is different. But from the evidence I gather from my devotees, they do overcome the pain if they persist in this kind of training, which is non-judgmental observation in a perfect state of equanimity. So you can try that next time. Pain, okay, what is pain? Who is causing me pain? What is this pain like? Always intensified, always changing, but on a very subtle level. How subtle is the pain? So when the pain is intense, which part of my body is feeling the pain? Is it in the muscles, something deeper? How is it causing me, discomfort? Is this discomfort coming from my mind and so forth? But actually when you meditate, a lot of questions come to your mind, but when you do it non-judgmentally, you just find the wisdom to understand the permanence or the actual physical state of the pain. And eventually when the mind is, what we call when the time and place is right, or when the time is right, the mind can transcend the state of physicality. And that is a time where you may be able to overcome the pain once and for all. And that is the evidence I gather from participants of the Vipassana tradition under the Goenka tradition. But as I say, myself is lucky because I don't have this very intense pain. Even when I sometimes have a certain pain, I just observe it and it will normally just go away. So in my state, I'm blessed with the more pleasant sensations. I'm not supposed to attach to them. So as I say, everyone is different. But we are all humans, we all feel pain, it's fine. Problem is, can you live with your pain? Can your pain be your friend or your enemy? If your pain is your enemy, your pain will always intensify. Experience in other Buddhist tradition, in other meditation tradition. If you just endure the pain, it will just become so intense. You want to give up, even fight, and even hurt someone. Because the pain asks you to reach out to react. But what is, you have to look inwards. What is this pain? Is it real? How real? How long is this going to last? How long is it going to affect me? It's anatta. Who is feeling the pain? So eventually you will gain what we call the facet of wisdom in the Buddhist teachings. And if you're lucky and you persist enough, most of the time you'll just transcend this physical state of pain. Good luck and keep on training.
Okay. Well, we passed 4 minutes, and really thank you. Thanks, Venerable Hui Sheng. And definitely I will have him to come back as long as you put a question, on the message. And I will invite him back. And I will still see you here at 8 o'clock. Originally, I was going to start to teach Heart Sutra in English, but it turns out that I was in Professor Lina church, virtually, and then also Professor Lori Mix's class, and there are some students question. So they asked me that if I can answer those questions, students' question on the this Facebook video as well. So tomorrow I will still see you 8 o'clock here for the live stream. Thank you so much for listening, and good night. Okay, I have to operate the machine